And it's time for your favorite game show, Lawts. Make a deal. Yes, we have reached out to you, the fans. Trade deadline is coming up on April the 12th, and we've asked you to send us some potential trade ideas for our resident general manager, Brian Lawton, to kind of grade and to give his thoughts on whether these are deals that could happen or really are just fantasy land for a particular fan base. So let's get right at it. And we got one from Jason here. And this is between the Boston Bruins and the Nashville Predators. And we can see it here. Matthias Ekholm. A lot has been discussed about Ekholm. Ekholm and a third-round pick in 2021 to the Bruins for a first-round pick, Vakanainen, and DeBrusk. Your thoughts?
Okay, well, first off, this is a good thought for the Boston Bruins. I do think he'd be an impact player for them. And yes, you're definitely, if you're the Nashville Predators, you are going to get a first-round pick. Now, who comes after that for a player like Ekholm, who does have a very reasonable cap hit and another year left on his deal? All value, provided that the expansion draft doesn't knock you out of him. There's a lot of things to consider there. I don't mind this trade, but it hinges on two things. First off, Vakanainen is a nice player, but if I were the Nashville Predators, I'd be looking at Mason Lowry, who's plying his trade for the Green Bay Gamblers. And this is what goes on behind the scenes. He is a guy that has first pairing potential, the former second-round pick for the Boston Bruins. So that would get scratched. And then this bet is really heavy on Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk is not having a great year, obviously. He averages about 0.56 points a game throughout his career. But this year, just 7 points in the game he's played in. So that would be tough to swallow, in my opinion, for the Nashville Predators, unless you're a big Jake DeBrusk fan. He has scored 27 goals in this league, EJ. Are you a big Jake DeBrusk fan? Are you taking that bet on him being an impact player for you because you're losing a Viking? And I mean a real Viking. This guy is he plays like a Viking.
Terrific player. I mean, I think it really depends at the end of the day if you're David Poile, if you're starting to think about a tear down and rebuild where you want picks and younger players, or if you're trying to retool. If you're trying to retool, it goes back to what you said. Do you like Jake DeBrusk or you don't? And, if you're Boston and you move Jake DeBrusk out, what's one of the problems they have? Scoring.
Exactly.
And so, it's been a problem for DeBrusk this year, but if you move him out, hopefully you'll have somebody to come in and take his place.
You've created another hole that you've got to deal with. Yeah, it's a tough one. And
not bad, though.
There's always oddities in these deals. We could go on forever. This Jake DeBrusk, 3-year deal, got 2 years left on it, 2.5 last year. Just the numbers, the way that contract is set up, it's not very favorable for them getting value for him. Okay. It's very back-end loaded. A team like Nashville, they care about that.
Yeah.
Every team is different. And I like the way Toronto does their contracts. Everything's front-loaded. If you got to move a guy or bail on him,
you can do it.
Yes, it's easier.
All right. Let's
put value into your players.
All right. Let's get to the next one. Okay. And the next one involves the New York Rangers and the Buffalo Sabres, and we probably figured we would get one of these, right? Because Jack Eichel, there's been a lot of discussion about him being happy in Buffalo. He's out of the lineup right now with injury. We don't know if he's going to be back before the end of the season, the way things are going. This one, the Rangers would get Eichel. I'm sure Ranger fans would be thrilled. And then the Sabres would get Kakko. They'd get Strome. They'd get a first-round pick and a second-round pick. I don't know, Lawts, how you feel. I don't think that's near enough.
No, it isn't near enough. And we had a ton of Jack Eichel.
I'm sure we did.
As you can imagine. But a box of rocks and a bag of pucks isn't going to get you Jack Eichel back. And I'm not saying that about those players. I'm saying about the fantasy ones that we had underneath it.
Yeah.
In this case right here, sure, Kakko, second pick overall. Yeah, that's going to be of interest. A first-round pick, yeah, sure. That's going to be of interest. Another pick, second rounder, yeah, maybe Rangers be a pretty decent pick. Maybe if they don't make the playoffs, maybe not. But you're going to have to throw in a guy like Alexis Lafreniere if you want to get the Buffalo Sabres' attention. The Sabres have already publicly said they're looking for 4 pieces. Okay? Superstar player in his prime, making $10 million. That's a negative. That's problematic for them. There's so many different things that go on here. It's not easy. I'll give this person a C for their effort, or at least their thought. But in terms of that actually happening, no way, Jose.
Well, maybe it could happen if you add Artemi Panarin to the mix because he plays well with Strome right now. Maybe, I don't know. I don't trade franchise centers unless I get a lot in return and I need a center as well. All right, let's get to another one from Andrew.
Okay.
And this is the Leafs and the Sabres. The Sabres, quite popular in the trade market, I would imagine. And here it is. The Leafs would get Taylor Hall and 50% of the contract would be retained by the Buffalo Sabres. One-year deal. It'll be expiring at the end of the year. For Alexander Kerfoot, a first-rounder in 21, second-rounder in 22. Your thoughts?
All right, my first thoughts are, good thought here, 50% retained at $8 million. The Toronto Maple Leafs obviously cannot withstand that type of salary cap hit. Kerfoot would help them. I think he's an expendable player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's played well, but that certainly would help them. Goes a long way towards that. This will definitely grab the attention of the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, part of their strategy could be, look, it's not going to work out. Let's just grab as many picks as we can. Some people have mixed feelings on this year's draft. I happen to think it's a massive opportunity. You would love to have picks this year. It's not maybe the most deepest draft, but you're going to have this massive amount of chaos and uncertainty because people haven't been able to see players. You could really do well. Some people say you could really do poorly. So that's betting on your staff. And
what staff? I thought the Buffalo Sabres got rid of a lot of their staff.
They have a staff.
Okay.
They do have a staff. We can confirm that.
Okay.
We don't know who it is, but we know that. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Totally. So I don't mind this trade. This trade would have some legs for me. I actually really, truly believe that. Taylor has not played well, obviously, for Buffalo. They would love to move him out and not just see him walk out of town as an unrestricted free agent. First and second round picks will have a lot of value to a team that is much more fixable than how they're playing right now. The Buffalo Sabres, they will be a good team a lot quicker than people think. It's not happening right now. I understand that.
All right. I wouldn't do the Taylor Hall if I was the Leafs. I don't think he fixes their problems, but that's just me. All right, let's get to another one here, and this is the Bruins and the Ducks. I think it was Zach who came up with this one. Bruins get Ryan Getzlaf, the old veteran, leaving his home in Anaheim, sent for a second-round pick. Boy, oh boy, what do you think of that?
Yeah, simple, clean, not likely with the cap hit for Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah.
You'd have to at least eat all the money. Would the Ducks want to do that? Would Ryan Getzlaf want to go there? It's a nice, easy trade. Looks pretty good on paper. There's a lot that would have to go underneath.
What's
in
the contract
background.
left for Getzlaf?
Oh, he's close to $8 million.
But and how many years though?
This is his final year. He's unrestricted.
Year. So that gives you.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to pay, for the end of the year, it might cost you close to $1 million to take him for the end. Okay?
Interesting.
So, but it's not that for the Boston Bruins. It's the cap hit that they can't fit under their cap. So you'd have to provide help. The second rounder, the Ducks would have interest for that. A lot of times we see players like this. What do? They may go away for a while. It's illegal to have a deal to go back to Anaheim, but it's not illegal for him to go back to Anaheim as long as he doesn't have an agreement for it. So maybe if they exchange or retain some cash.
All right, let's get one more in here.
Okay, one more.
One more deal in here. This is from Jordan, and it's the Avalanche and the Stars. And it would be Anton Khudobin, who just recently signed with Dallas Stars on a new deal, going to Colorado for Connor Timmins, a defenseman, and then a fifth-round pick. I always like when people throw in that fifth-round pick.
Nobody cares.
Got to give you something, so a fifth-round pick. What do you think there?
Okay, I love this thought for the Colorado Avalanche because we already talked about on the show today that they could definitely use some depth in the goaltender position. Grubauer's been perfect, but boy, it would be a nice insurance policy for Joe Sakic, Jared Bednar, and the rest of the Colorado Avalanche. And how about we're not going home? Who doesn't want this guy on your team? He's a character, but he does have a couple of years left at 3.3. That could be problematic for the Colorado Avalanche. This is a bet on Connor Timmins, a guy that's been injured a lot, was a high pick, is currently plying his trade in the American Hockey League. This would go away. Yeah, it's a maybe. It's a maybe. If Dallas had somebody in their organization who would pound the table and say Connor Timmins is going to play at least in our top 5D, they might consider it. I'm not sure that would be the case. But overall, great effort from the fans out there. We appreciate it. The real ones were good. I would grade that one right there and most of the trades, about a B.
Yeah, Jordan to me is a
lot of work goes
Avalanche fan there trying to get another goaltender, but we will see. Thanks, Lawts. Nice job.